Good afternoon, good morning, good night. Welcome back to the How Does This Work podcast. I am your host, Antoine Lance. Make sure you go follow me on Twitter at the all caps _ Antoine Lance. That's ANTWANLANCE. How's everybody doing today? It's another rainy day here in South Carolina. It's so weird. We've been on quarantine for months now, and I feel like up until like this week, the weather had been pretty much A1. Like I could have gone to the beach at any point during quarantine, except for now, because it's like pouring rain, and it's supposed to pour rain for the remainder of the week, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, we're not gonna let the weather stop us from jamming out and having a good time, vibing and whatnot. But how's you guys'? How's y'all's day going? How's the family? I hope everyone is staying safe, staying inside, doing all that social distancing stuff. It was brought to my attention that like my last episode, it kind of maybe, I don't want to say like discredited, but it didn't like take into account other people's struggles. Someone told me it just kind of seemed like, oh, that's what worked like for you. And it also dawned on me that I didn't really explain too much how I why I didn't like asking for help, or what reasons that I didn't. And it kind of just came off as like, oh, one day I magically woke up and I was over whatever problems I had, and that is definitely 1,000,000,000% not the case. And I didn't want to just like let that go as if I was just like, no, yeah, I got over it magically one day and it was never an issue for me again, because like I said, that's not the case. It's an ongoing thing. It's not something that I just like one day figured out, oh yeah, this makes so much more sense. Why wasn't I always doing this? So this is I guess this is going to be like a part 2, a continuation to my last episode, which if you listened and downloaded, I appreciate you. Thank you oh so much. You're a saint. Make sure you rate it and share it with someone so that if it helped you, maybe it can help them. Something else I also didn't like really take into consideration when I was recording sometimes, and I have a habit of doing this because to me, a lot of things, like I look at things a certain way, so a lot of things to me seem as if they're kind of black and white when really they're not. Some things might be purple to certain people that to me just seem pretty regular, which also purple is not a color. Little fun fact there, purple is not a color, but neither here nor there. So I also didn't want to just make it seem like this was a black and white thing, because there are definite, there are times where people do struggle with a particular thing. It doesn't have to be this, it can be anything, but it can be a thing of like, the issue looks like A, but really it's K. Meaning that the issue might look like something, but it could really be, like an underlying thing that is causing the issue. So you don't actually know what the root cause of, that person's problem is. You're not really aware, like in that moment, it might come off as something else, but it really might not even be, what you think it is. It might be something completely different. And I think in the last episode, I didn't really give that, too much like thought. Thought is the right word. I didn't give it too much thought when I was like putting together my notes and my list and everything like that. But yeah, it could just be that, someone doesn't like to ask for help. That is a definite possible maybe, like that's a thing. But it could also be something completely different, that person just they haven't really worked on that aspect of their personality yet, and there's nothing wrong with that. As you go through life, you're gonna enter different seasons and different things, and you're not supposed to try and work. Like, I don't think you should try and work on everything all the time. It's kind of like being a reverse blackjack, or not blackjack, a reverse jack of all trades. That's what I was trying to say. But, normally a jack of all trades is someone who's, kind of good at a lot of different things, but they're not a master of anything. And so I think you end up becoming, like, it's good because you're constantly working on yourself, but you kind of, you end up just working on so many different things at once that you probably never really resolve any one specific issue. So your issues just become a little bit less. They don't actually go away. So, but yeah, I just wanted in this episode to go over, like, why I used to not really do the whole ask for help type thing, and like what exactly about it, made me like shy away from it. I think for one, there was some definite anxiety. I don't think I had like super bad anxiety, but it's definitely something I think I was dealing with, but also didn't realize that I was actually dealing with it at the time. I remember this was like maybe 2, 3, actually it could be more. Maybe this was like 4 years ago. I think this was the first time I ever like kind of looked at myself and was like, whoa, that's not normal. Like, that wasn't a normal reaction. So me and my girlfriend, it was New Year's Eve, New Year's, whatever. But, if you're from South Carolina, like down here, every year we do the famously hot New Year thing. And, so we had gone to that because I think it was like one of the first or second times that we had actually gone to it. They always have a super dope fireworks show, at like right at midnight to bring in the new year. And, yeah, so, we're like walking around, blah, blah, blah. Well, barely walking around. It's kind of hard to maneuver when you're down there because there's like tons of people. There's definitely tons of people down there. But yeah, it was just like we were walking around, and I started to, I'll say this, okay, this was definitely more than 4 years ago. I don't know where I was getting 2 or 3 from, but there was a time in my life where I didn't have a job at the time. Like, I was looking, I was in school, I was looking for a job. Just couldn't. It's hard. Like, if you've ever been in that spot where like you constantly got to look for a job, it's hard. It's weird. You like, as you go places, you always see for sale signs, and if you're like looking on like websites like Indeed and stuff like that, you'll always see, oh no, I said for sale, now hiring. But if you're on Indeed, there's always job postings on Indeed, and it can get kind of tough when you like you apply and you apply and you apply and you just never get a call back. And it's like, dang, how y'all always hiring but you never hire? Like, why? Like, what about me isn't good enough for you to hire? But so yeah, this may have been in like 2016, 2015. So yeah, maybe this was 4 years ago. But yeah, it just wasn't like, I wasn't really in a good headspace. Like, I didn't really feel like being in school. Didn't have a job, so that's main reason. I was like, oh well, at least I'm in school, like I'm doing something. And I don't know, I guess like we went to the New Year's show, and we're like looking at the fireworks and everything, and it was so weird. It was such like a beautiful moment, but I like freaked out. Like, and if you've ever had a panic attack, you know what this feels like. So I was like, we're walking. We're like, oh man, the fireworks are about to go off. This is awesome. And then like out of nowhere, there's just this like, I don't even really know how to describe the feeling. I guess it would kind of be like Like if you go for a really long time without eating and you start to feel lightheaded, it's kind of like that. Except I felt lightheaded and my body felt heavy, and like my heart was like doom 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 doom, like trying to jump out my chest, and like, but I could like hear my heartbeat. It was not a fun experience. And so like, you know, I tell her, I'm like, yo, I don't really feel good. And so like she got me some water, and like I stood on the sidewalk, and like it was just kind of like this wave of, I guess at that time, all the things in life that like weren't going right. And it's kind of like I felt all that pressure all at once, and a lot of that stuff, like a lot of the stuff that I felt kind of hit me all at once, was super avoidable. And a lot of it, there were people I could have asked, like, hey, how do I go about this? How do I go about this? You know, like, I feel like this. How do I like combat those feelings? Because I wasn't feeling it. Like, and when I say I wasn't feeling it, like, I was very unhappy. Like, I wasn't feeling life. I wasn't suicidal, but I just really complacent. Complacent's the word. I felt really complacent all the time, even though I felt like, it was weird. I felt complacent, but I felt like I had no reason to feel complacent. So I didn't like understand what exactly what I had going on. But so yeah, we go sit down. I'm drinking the water. All these feelings are hitting me at once, like, and I feel like imagine like fighting Mike Tyson, and like my man just keeps throwing rights and hitting you. Like you block him, like you kind of block him, but you know, like it's Mike Tyson, so his right is devastating. And so we end up going back to the car, like, and I was trying to like shake the feelings and tough it out, because I really, you know, I wanted to see the fireworks and I wanted her to see the fireworks, but I just couldn't do it. Like, I felt like crap. So we go back to the car, and like, I don't know what it was, but we walked back. I felt like garbage because we didn't get to see the fireworks. Well, I guess we kind of saw the fireworks. We saw a little bit, but we didn't really get to see the fireworks. And like, I just kind of broke down and had a moment. And I think that was the first time where I ever kind of like looked at myself and was like, yo, I need to start doing something different. And yeah, like, and it was a tough moment, definitely, but I think it was also a moment for the better, because like I definitely started to try and change and do things a little bit differently from that point forward. Like, and there were way more hurdles after that, definitely. Like, yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, that was like 4 years ago. I'm in a much better mental space now than I was then. But I think that moment is like probably one of the more pivotal moments in my life, at least within the last like 5 or 6 years or whatever. But yeah, like back then I'd run into trouble with things, and like it could be anything. Like I might be struggling with schoolwork, or you know, like bills might be kind of rough, and like I just hated asking people for help. I would never ask anybody for anything. Like, even now I still kind of struggle with it. Like, and before the story, I said I didn't have a job. I mean, like, I would work, you know, like I think the summer I did this like painting thing where I painted houses. That was miserable, by the way. Don't ever paint houses in the summer in the South. And I mean like the outsides of houses. That's what we painted. That it was garbage. But so I do little stuff like that here and there. But like, it was rough, man. Like, because at that time I didn't have a job, and it's like, dang, how am I gonna like do stuff, and how am I gonna do this, how am I gonna do that, how am I gonna like pay for, you know, this, pay for that. But you find a way. God will make a way. God will definitely make a way. But yeah, like I would definitely just struggle. Like I would always just be like, yo, I'm just gonna struggle. Like even my parents, like I wouldn't even, and it's not like I could definitely ask them for help. I can always ask them for help. But it was just, I don't know, I just had this like this thing of I'm gonna figure it out one way or another. Like I'm gonna do something to figure it out. And it never really worked out. You know, you have your good moments where you're like, oh man, you figure something out, you make something, you stretch a little bit of money way longer than you thought you could. But I definitely made things a billion times harder than what they had to be. Like I could have asked. I look back on it and I'm like, dang, I definitely should have asked for more help back then. But like I said, that wasn't my season. It wasn't my season to be like that. I had to grow. It was a growing season, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, you know, you go through stuff, you grow through stuff. But yeah, like that moment definitely, like, I don't know, like, and it's so crazy because right at like, I think that was New Year's. So like going into January, I didn't have a job. Like a week and a half later, I got a job, or I had an interview, and I ended up getting that job. But because I am where I am now, sometimes you gotta hit rock bottom sometimes. I mean, lucky for me at that moment, my rock bottom was like a lot higher, you know. My rock bottom wasn't a lot of people's rock bottom. Like I wasn't homeless, you know, like thank God for that. But yeah, man, like a week and a half later, like I got a job, and I ended up being there for almost 2.5 years. Or I was there for a while and I left, and then I came back, and then I stayed for a long time. But God will definitely make a way, man. But yeah, like I just, back then I was like, nah, I'm gonna figure it out on my own. And I definitely think my youth had a lot to do with it. Like I was like, oh man, I'm a 20 something year old, and like, I mean, I'm only 25 now, but I was like, oh, I'm a young 20 something year old, and I'll figure it out, and blah blah blah, and it'll always work out. And it did. I mean, it did always work out, but not because of nothing I did. Like it was definitely not any of my doing. But I just say those things to say, like, it takes time, it takes work, it takes effort. I mean, you'll probably, like with anything, you'll have good days and you'll have bad days. Like there are days where, you know, if you're working on something, and there are days where you have good days, and like there are days where you hate it. Even like for me now, and this isn't really related, I hate editing. Like I love doing this, but I hate editing. If you know how to edit, like if you're an editor and you're listening, hit me up on Twitter. Let's have a little chit chat. But then there are certain days where the editing process for me is a breeze, and I blow through it and I get you guys the content. And you know, like I said, with life, you know, you're gonna have good days and you're gonna have bad days. But yeah, back then, man, like I said, I think my youth had a lot to do with it. I had a lot of pride back then. Like I was very prideful. And I mean, like, pride can be a good thing, but I was just very, very prideful. Like, I'm not gonna let you see me down. And if I do, then I trust you. Like, really, my girlfriend is the only person that I'd like even ever allow to see me like that, because I hated looking like that. But yeah, I think, pride, youth, lack of knowledge, like all those things. And I also and it's so weird because, like I said, that was probably the first time. Like I said, for me, my whole thing was just like anxiety, and I really feel like I had always been dealing with that, and I don't think I ever really realized it until that moment. And it's so crazy, even more crazy, because I didn't even really begin to talk about my anxiety and my feelings like that until like another 2 years after that. But I think I got caught up in feeling better in the moment, so I just kind of figured that was like a one time thing, but it definitely wasn't. But yeah, like that moment definitely made me realize, like, oh wow, I don't have it all figured out, and there's nothing wrong with me not having it all figured out, and I'll probably never have it all figured out. But there's a part of me that doesn't want to figure it out, because like I like to engage in that conversation with people who do have it more figured out, where I can, like I said in the last one, it's always like a give and take. So if I understand something that you don't understand, and we're talking, and you gain something from me, that's dope. Like that's awesome. I live for stuff like that. But yeah, I didn't want to leave that last episode without like explaining, like if it's funny, if you are asking for help, me personally, if I'm asking for help, I don't want someone to help me that's never been through nothing. Like, I believe you can learn something from everybody, but if you're trying to help me do something specifically that you've never experienced, then I don't really feel like you are the best teacher. Like I don't feel like you're the best teacher for me. Like I've never met a good man who's never been through anything. I've never met a good person really who's never been through anything. Like you gotta be tried to, at least for me, like for me to really like rock with you, I don't know, I feel like I can't like really trust you or like rock with you if your life has just been sheltered and perfect. And I mean, that might be no fault of your own, but that's just how I look at it. But yeah, like I said, I didn't want to be like, oh yeah, like it wouldn't be very fitting of me to be like, oh, you should listen to my podcast and like listen to me talk about these things because whatever reason, and then not delve more into why I feel like I can help you with it. Like you can't run for president, and that's a bad example, because I mean our president now has no right to call himself president and should have never been elected. But this is not a political podcast. I'm not about to do that here. I mean, unless y'all want my political views, if you do, let me know on Twitter and maybe I'll sneak it in or something. But yeah, I can't just be like, oh yeah, I dealt with this and now I don't really deal with it, and you should try and do this thing. Like it's not fair for me to do that if I don't give you guys more background, which I mean, I do a whole episode about myself. Maybe not. I don't really like to talk about myself like that, but yes, my anxiety prevented me from asking people for help when I should have been asking for help, and it led to me having a whole nervous breakdown on New Year's Eve/day in 2016 or whatever. So yeah, don't end up like that. It's not I mean, I don't want to say don't end up like that, but, and I don't want to say a nervous breakdown. Like, I don't think I had a nervous breakdown per se, but I definitely had an anxiety attack, and it's just not fun. It's not a fun feeling. And yeah, like I said, to that point, I really feel like I had been dealing with it, but I didn't notice it, or I ignored it, or it wasn't, a big enough, like my reactions or whatever were never big enough for me to be like, there's something there that I should work on. So, plus I don't think at 22, a lot of 22-year-olds are like looking to work on themselves and flesh out all their flaws. Like, I don't know how many 22-year-olds are out there doing that. If you're a 22-year-old who is doing that and you're listening to this show, keep doing that. That's great. Keep that energy. It'll help you later in life. But yeah, this was a part 2 of why, asking for help, where I really just wanted to talk about, like I said, why I felt, like I said, it wasn't fair for me to just, or it's not fair for me to just be like, hey, do this, and then not give you my background on it. So yeah, now you know. If you do have more questions about that stuff, you can message me on Twitter at the all caps _ Antoine Lance. That's ANTWANLANCE. That's all I got for you guys today. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day. Be blessed, stay safe, stay beautiful. I love you all.